Hello, welcome to the Big Scuba Show.
So here we are, once again.
Hello, my name's Will Appleyard. I'm here with Ian and Gemma for the Big Scuba Podcast, broadcasting from my camper van somewhere in deepest southern Spain.
You are listening to the Big Scuba. This is an audio-only episode. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Big Scuba. This is Ian, and also with me is...
Gemma in Patefield.
Yes, well done. So yes, welcome back. This is episode 44, Gemma.
It is.
Do you know what? Actually, there's not that much really going on with the number 44, but I will tell you this: if you are into bingo, 44, all the fours, droopy jaws. There we go. So that's what they would say if we are playing bingo.
Or had droopy drawers.
Let's move on very swiftly from that one. It's a family show, Jen. Right. Okay. So this episode is regarding Will Appleyard. Now, Will has brought our book out, which is coming out tomorrow, I do believe.
Yeah, November the 25th.
Yeah, we did mention it very briefly on the last episode. If you were listening and paying attention to the last episode, number 43, that was with...
Man to Trust.
Well done. So we mentioned in the last episode that we were going to be talking to Will, and also that we would be chatting about his forthcoming book, which is due out tomorrow, Gemma. Did you know?
Yeah, Wild and Temperate Seas.
Hello, welcome to the Big Scuba YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this episode. If you'd like to see more, please do subscribe to our channel so you can hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell, that is the notification bell, and that will tell you when we release new episodes on the YouTube channel. So please do like, hit the thumbs up, and do comment, because we love hearing your comments. So that's it, and carry on watching this episode.
So before you all switch off, you must listen to the end of this episode, because there's important news about who's coming on next on episode 45.
Yeah, and some discount deals as well.
Discount. Blimey, what are you even paying people to listen to us now?
Listen to the end and listen to what we've got to offer.
That'll probably do with us running on. Should we sit back and have a listen to and chat to Will?
Yes, yeah, so Will is talking to us from his camper van in southern Spain.
Awesome.
I've never lost myself without you.
Hello.
Hello.
Will Appleyard, welcome to the Big Scuba Podcast. It's
Thank you for
very
having
nice
me.
to meet you, and you're actually in Spain at the moment.
I am, and as I mentioned a moment ago, apologise if there's any background noise, because I'm sat in my van outside a bar, but it's great to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to meet you.
So, Will, tell us about you. Tell us about what you've been up to, and for those who don't know who you are you, Will?
Well, my name's Will Appleyard. I guess I'm several things really. Currently stuck in Spain, but I guess I could leave if I want to. But I'm an author of 3 diving books. Well, the third one is about to happen. It's coming out in November, as you know, and I guess that's why I was kindly invited on. But I also write for quite a lot of diving and adventure magazines, and provide the accompanying photography as well. So I guess you could call me a writer and a photographer.
Yeah. And that's your kind of career, is it? That's the way you...
Well, I guess I'd like it to be a full-time career, but you can't really live off of these things. So I've got one or two other avenues of income that keep me doing these things. But it's having sort of worked with magazines, I guess, for, I don't know, on and off maybe for about 10 years, I guess. the more you do, the more you get invited to sort of nicer places. So it's quite a good way of getting to places for free. And then in return, you know, I provide the articles and photography and things, but it pays a little bit, but yeah, you couldn't really live off it.
Yeah, it must be great. Yeah, seeing all these places.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really. This year's obviously been a bit of an odd year for everyone. I was 2 days away from going to Jordan on a press trip for a magazine about mid-March, and obviously that got cancelled. We were then meant to go to South Africa for the sardine run, which got canned as well, and then also on the cards was Costa Rica, but you know, I guess this year's kind of written off as far as that kind of travel is concerned, and I can do next year instead, so it's all good.
Yeah, well, next year is another start, isn't it? So yeah, hopefully it'll be better.
So you didn't have to come home then, come back to the UK?
Well, I sort of I did it the other way round. When the whole lockdown thing was sort of, you know, on the cards mid-March, I actually disappeared to Spain. And it was a bit weird because the plane was sort of half full with, I guess, mostly Spanish people looking kind of petrified. And then me sat there with my beer going to Seville when, you know, Spain was in total lockdown at the time. And I remember this air steward coming over to me with a bit of a nosy look on his face midway through the flight saying, excuse me, but can I ask, why are you going to Spain? So I said, well, you know, why not? I'm going on holiday. But no, I came here for the better weather, really. And I've got a bigger space to be locked down in than I do back in Brighton, where I usually live. So that's kind of why I end up here, really. But I did go back a little while ago to get my diving gear because I didn't have that. So I have been back since briefly just to snatch that and bring it back to Spain. So hopefully there'll be some diving trips on the cards soon.
Yeah. Talking of diving, how did you get into the whole scuba diving arena?
I guess, do you know, I think it might be about 20 years ago this year. I remember going on holiday to Greece with a girlfriend at the time, and we got involved in one of these sort of tri-dive type things. So we did one, and I just fell in love with it straight away. And then I wanted to do another one, so I sort of selfishly spent the remaining holiday money on a second tri-dive. And the girlfriend, yeah, she was kind of into it, but I'd really fallen in love with it straight away. And when we got back to the UK, I kindly bought us both open water courses for Christmas. So essentially, I guess I just bought myself a present for Christmas. And yeah, that was about 20 years ago. And then it kind of took off from there, really, and went straight from that over to Thailand and did a liverboard and did the advanced PADI course there. And then I would just dive anywhere after that, you know, from muddy puddles to whatever. So yeah, seems a long time ago now.
So what level did you get to?
Well, I've got a string of the usual kind of you know, recreational diving qualifications through different agencies, but a couple of years ago I did the beginning stages of a commercial diving course, which is the HSC Part 4 media diver course. So if, for example, I wanted to or could get any work with, say, you know, company, let's say BBC for argument's sake, to work as a, I don't know, cameraman or a safety diver, or in any kind of diving capacity with an organisation like that, you have to have the HSC Part 4. So during that course, you learn how to use the full face mask with all the different various communications. You build a lighting platform underwater. We did some wreck surveys in Portland Harbour. We did some solo diving in Chepstow. It was a 2-week course, but it was fabulous. Quite a lot of theory involved as well, and a couple of exams at the end. But yeah, fabulous thing to have been able to do, actually. So, but yeah, we'll see. The BBC haven't rung me up yet. I'm still waiting for them to call. but maybe they will one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to renew that every year?
No, you don't, but you do have to have a medical every year as part of that. And then I think every 2 years you have to renew your first aid training as well. So you do a kind of a 2-day first aid course as part of that, which you have to have, which was great as well, actually. I think everyone should do that. I really learned a lot from it. So yeah, so as far as the diving is concerned, it's probably good to kind of try that gear out every so often just to stay current. But the course is, that's done, so I have the ticket for that.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah.
So what's next?
What's next? Well, got this book coming out on the 25th of November, which I'm excited about. But diving wise, I think we might pop over to Gran Canaria because it's, part of Spain, so we can get there quite easily. Maybe do a bit of that. But I've been spending my time just hanging out in the country here, really. And I also paraglide, so I've been doing a bit of that in Spain, which is one of my other interests.
Yeah, pictures look amazing.
Yeah, the book. Yeah, it's great. I've been doing that for about 5 years. It's I started that in the UK as well, actually, but really only fly in Spain now. So
yeah. So with the books, obviously you've got 2 books out: Discover UK Diving and Dorset Dives, and then you've got Wild and Temperate Seas coming out. So what started you on the writing journey and putting a book out there?
Yeah, good question. I can't really remember what kind of kicked off Dorset Dives. That came, Discover UK Diving, because that was the first one. It came out about, I guess it must be about 11 years ago. And thankfully it's out of print because, I look back at my work that's 11 years old and I like to think I've improved substantially since then. But I guess that came from in those days when I was, I'd been diving in the UK for a few years and there wasn't anything that really kind of grabbed my interest book-wise. And I felt that perhaps I should create something for people that want to get into UK diving to sort of see how fascinating it can be. So that happened, and it did quite well. But yeah, it's a bit ancient now, and it's out of print. So maybe one day I'll revise it. I don't know. And then Dorset Dives happened about 5 years after that. And again, I decided that perhaps the diving world needed something with a fresh, contemporary look, because there weren't really many. Well, maybe I think there's one Dorset dive guide at the time, but I felt it was the right time to produce something, and it's ticked over ever since. Really, again, you can't live off these things; they're a bit of a labour of love, and they probably end up costing you more money than than you make. I mean, you kind of
must put a lot of hours into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, with that book, I had done some of the dives already, but I did it with a group of friends that sort of helped with models and things like that. And I was down in Dorset for an entire summer, pretty much every weekend, diving. So it was quite challenging because you know what it's like with UK diving. You can do kind of sometimes like 5 dives and 2 of them will be great, and then the other 3 might be blown out, or the visibility might not be that good. So yeah, we spent a lot of time on that. But yeah, I was quite pleased with it. But again, I look back at it and I think, when I opened the pages, I think, perhaps I wouldn't have done this if I did it now, or perhaps I would have changed that. But that's just progression, isn't it, really? So I think that's quite healthy.
Have that, isn't it? Progression, and look back and see where, how you've self-improved, and we see it with what we do as well, and you kind of hope that we have progressed as we started. And,
sure.
And it's good to have. I think it's a natural thing.
Yeah, you learn, don't you? And you start off and looking down one road, if you like, and then realise that there's other places you can explore and things develop. So it's it's a healthy thing to do.
Yeah. So with the third book, Wild and Temperate Seas, when did you decide to write that? Was it pre-COVID or?
Well, it was during
Mm.
actually. During COVID, I wrote a couple of articles for Diver magazine, Britain's best-selling diving magazine, may I add. And that I didn't really have any new material, but I came up with the idea of sort of loosely interviewing a few potentially well-known divers and some, you know, not known, just advocates of UK diving, and put together a piece based on other people's experiences and, you know, championing UK diving.
Yeah.
So I wrote 2 of those during the lockdown, and they seemed to be received quite well. And then my new publisher, Alex from Dived Up Publications, contacted me and he said, you know, why don't you consider a third UK diving book, but along the same lines. So this new book is certainly quite well polished, I like to think, in comparison to the other 2. And so it's a collaborative effort with, I think, six other photographers.
Yeah.
And so I sort of drew all that together. So we've got, for example, Jason Brown's written a fabulous section about diving in Scapa Flow. He's, you know, quite a well-known, accomplished wreck photographer. And we've got Kirsty Andrews, who's covered some Scottish dive sites, and what else did she do? I can't flipping remember now. Farne Islands,
Right.
and Mull, I think. And then a chap called Dan Bolt, whose work I've admired on Instagram for a while. He's got some fabulous photos taken down in Devon. And so, yeah, it's a collaborative effort, and it kind of was born out of these sort of diver mag type pieces. And I think it works quite well. And we all work together well as well, actually. And they were all kind of really keen to be on board. And we got it together reasonably quickly.
Yeah.
But I mean, Dived Up Publications have been brilliant. They're very meticulous, and they definitely went sort of above and beyond to make this thing really look great. So I can't wait to see it in print.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to seeing it because it's obviously so timely because everybody's like UK diving because that option to travel easily now.
Exactly, that was kind of an idea as well. You know, let's get it out now because people are doing that. So let's showcase it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be the same next year. I can't see things changing unless there's some type of vaccine and that on the horizon. That'll be next year. We'll be concentrating on UK diving again. I'm
yeah,
sure.
maybe. And you know, we've sort of loosely talked about doing a follow-up edition to it. That could be on the cards. And I've got a few ideas about perhaps putting another personal sort of book together, because over the last couple of years, I've been quite lucky to travel quite a lot with diving. And so I've got quite a few sort of varied experiences that I could perhaps put together in a book that might be
You cover the East Coast?
Say again?
You cover the East Coast?
Well, in this particular book, we've got, apologies for that lorry just going past. As I said, I am in my van. We've got St Abs in there. But we haven't gone any further south on the East Coast. Now, you guys are based in Norfolk, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah.
And perhaps, should there be a follow-up, then we'll try and kind of get down there, because I've done a little bit of diving out of Norfolk. In fact, my dad and his wife live there. They live in Cromer, so maybe not.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, brilliant place to kayak, and also a brilliant place to dive as well. All the way along there, some really great places, and you got the chalk reefs.
That's right, Sheringham Shoal. Yeah, I heard that. I really want to get there, actually. The little bit of diving I did was, I think it was out of Weybourne. There's a wreck off the beach.
Rosalie.
That's it, and it was great. The visibility was brilliant, but correct me if I'm wrong, but does it need you need a good bit of weather beforehand, don't you? And is it a bit hit and miss diving there? Apologies if I've got that wrong.
Yeah, can be. The window is really the summertime. By about now, it's sort of you're losing the visibility.
Right.
That's the trouble. So
I've dived it once, and that was my first sea dive. And
It was, yeah.
yeah, and it was
Oh,
just
great.
it was amazing. It was like a couple of days after I qualified. Yeah.
Oh, nice. It drops off really quickly there, doesn't it? As soon as you sort of step off the stony beach, it's sort of
Yeah.
5 meters deep straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a challenge getting in and out and walking to where you need to get in.
Yeah. Well, if you Chesil Cove, I don't know if you've been down to Chesil Beach, have you? Chesil
Seen
Cove,
pictures.
that's a bit like that. Yeah, that's that give you a workout walking up that beach for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I must come and explore some more diving in your neck of the woods, perhaps next year.
Yeah, there's some good diving off the East Coast, so definitely that'd be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely summertime is the time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your UK diving, does it just cover the sea, or do you look at inland dive sites as well?
With this new book,
Mm.
no, it's only coastal diving. At the beginning, we thought about perhaps putting in quarries, but I just like the title "Wild and Temperate Seas."
Yeah.
So I didn't quite fit, but maybe we could do a separate thing called Wild and Temperate Quarries.
Where did the title?
Wild quarries.
Not sure about wild.
Just quarries then.
Yeah.
Working
Where-
quarries.
Where did the title come from?
It might have been something that ended up in one of the diver magazine pieces actually, but I just kind of liked the ring to it, and you know they are they are wild places, these dive sites that we have, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of communicate that really, and you know we've got some really adventurous places to explore all around our coastline. So yeah, I think the title fits, and then we decided on a number of dive sites to go in there and chose 50. So the subtitle is 50 favorite UK dives. So it's the favorites of those that have contributed to the book, of course. So and there's some sort of unlikely ones in there as well. Actually, we've got a chap called Jake Davis, who's a Welsh marine biologist, and he's covered some of his favourite spots on the Lynn Peninsula. I've got my notes in front of me, and you know some really cool kind of shore dives. And the images that he sent in, a lot of it was some great drone images of these fantastic looking coves. Certainly make me want to go and visit there. So it's not all big, you know, big hitters, if you like, or all the obvious sites. There's definitely a variation. I mean, I guess the critics might say, "Oh, you didn't include so and so dive site," or but you know, that they were the choices. So I think it works
Well,
well.
that's quite good though, isn't it? Because you know, some of the more famous ones have probably been covered before, haven't they? And it's good to feature ones which are not so in the public domain.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we will leave some of those other ones for perhaps a volume 2, perhaps. But there are so many to cover. I mean, maybe it should have been called 200 favourite dives. Just keep going and going with it. It's an incredible amount of stuff to see and places to visit.
Yeah, well, you can keep your volumes going now, can't you? It's just,
Yeah, exactly. Then do a box set for Christmas, and you can buy more.
Yeah, and I think because you know people just haven't got that opportunity to jump on a plane now, or you know they don't want the hassle. It's going to be perfect timing.
Yeah, and I think it's great for the you know the UK diving industry, because I remember a few years when there were some tough times on the south coast for sure. You know, in the heyday, sometimes you couldn't get on a boat during the weekend, especially out of Dorset. But they went through a few tough times. So I think, you know, I hope things have improved. Something good has come out of COVID, if you like, for those businesses, because they work hard, and maybe there's some new blood coming through now as well that might be jumping on those boats.
Well, it might be a bit of a reset as well. People will appreciate what we've got around our coastline, and then decide that they're going to, you know, concentrate on that, and you know, get their dry suits on and
Absolutely.
be brave and jump in.
And I always say as well, and I've written this a few times, for me, it's not it's not just about the diving in the UK. You know, sometimes the boat ride alone can be a reason to go, especially if you go to somewhere like Durdledor on in the Jurassic coast in Dorset, and it's just incredible getting there by boat and then jumping off by the sort of foot of the arch at Durdledor. And you know, it's an experience that the majority of people don't have. Or Old Harry Rocks in near Swanage, and or Lundy Island. I mean, we've included Lundy Island in the book. It's probably one of my favourite places anywhere in the world, actually, and it's just, you know, 20 odd nautical miles off the North Devon coast. It's an incredible place.
Yeah, no, it's really, I'm sure it'll be a great success. Yeah, definitely.
Quite a few of our guests have mentioned Lundy, haven't they? It's their favourite destination to dive.
Yeah, and you mentioned St Abbs, and we were there in September.
Yeah. Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Do you know, I still haven't been. It's covered in the book by Elaine Whiteford, she's a fabulous photographer and writer as well. And reading her sections makes me super eager to want to go. So I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, we went out on St Abbs Charters boat, and really good. And the dives, like Cathedral Rock, is literally just a few minutes out of the harbour. You know, the difference is when you go to when you go to the Farne Islands dive, it's probably about 40 minutes ride out by boat. With St Abbs, they're literally on the doorstep. You're just a few minutes.
Perfect.
In, you know, it's really good.
Yeah, it was great.
Cathedral Rock was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just, you know, for quite a new diver, it was quite inspiring, and
visibility was good.
Yeah, I think it's quite reliable up there, the visibility, isn't it? So and as I say, the photographs that I've seen working on this project have certainly blown me away. So it's on the list. It's on the
long list.
The long list, the growing list for next year. But who knows what will happen? I've got a few of these overseas trips to put back on the calendar if possible. But you know, let's see what happens. We can't get too upset about these things, can we?
No. I think you've got to be quite flexible and just take it as it comes, really. So with your photography, what came first, scuba or photography?
Probably photography. It was something I was interested in at school, and I kind of sort of picked that up and put it down, and picked it up and put it down. But certainly diving got me back into photography. But I made the mistake, which I think a lot of new divers make, of trying to take a camera underwater too soon. And I remember going on my first liverboard to the Similon Islands, just off in the Andaman Sea off the coast of Thailand, and I bought this. I wish I still had it, actually, because it would be a relic now, but I bought this secondhand sort of first generation digital camera off eBay, which was pretty temperamental, and took it underwater and was, you know, trying to kind of mess around with this camera, but really I hadn't become a diver yet. So I left it in the cabin for the rest of the trip and just concentrated on looking around and my diving, my buoyancy, and my air consumption, which was terrible in the early days. I was always the one on the surface after about 25 minutes, because
that's me.
Well, you know, it gets better.
I hope so.
I was really bad in the beginning. I guess the excitement, nerves, the rest of it, it's all a bit kind of new. But so then I put it down for a couple of years. And when I felt like I was ready, I then went out and bought a new camera, you know, just a kind of compact camera, and put a wide angle lens on it, and then got a strobe and sort of built it up. And now I couldn't really dive without one. I'd really feel like I was missing something, because I do like something to do underwater as well. I do like a project. But, you know, I certainly couldn't bear to dive without one now.
You always see the best photographs when you don't have a camera.
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I upgraded a few, not that long ago, really, a couple of years ago, to DSLR. And I bought all this stuff secondhand. In fact, all of my equipment secondhand, apart from the computer that I'm looking at now. I've got a drone that's secondhand, 3 cameras that's secondhand.
What drone have you got?
It's a DJI Mavic Pro.
All right, nice one.
Yeah. So it took me a while to get to grips with the SLR, but I think I've figured it out now. But the trick is, I think, with photography and diving, you shouldn't just be, when you get out of the water, that shouldn't just be it. I think to kind of get better, and especially if you want to use full manual controls, not just use auto, you need to be taking photographs on land as well, a lot, just to get a feel for where the buttons are, a feel for shutter speeds and exposures. And I have my camera with me all the time, so I think that's an important piece of advice.
Yeah.
So, just a little interval from this episode. Ian and I work hard to bring guests and content across our podcast platforms, social media, and our YouTube channel, The Big Scuba. Would you like to become involved? Become a supporter, a sponsor, a Patreon of The Big Scuba. There are several levels of contribution, the smallest being just $2. If you'd like to become a patron of the Big Scuba podcast, please go to www.patreon.com/theBigscubapodcast. There you will see the levels of support. You can be an octopus, a dolphin, an orca, or a mighty blue whale. Just for the $2, you'll receive a shout out on our next episode. We look forward to welcoming you to the Big Scuba podcast community. Right, back to the episode.
Are you self-reliant? Have you done the self-reliant course?
Yes, I did. I did it in, where did I do that? Vobster a few years ago. Yeah, in fact, I can't remember. I did sort of 2 courses, which were the same thing. One was a PADI one, which I guess is a self-reliant diver, is it?
Yeah.
And then there was I think it was another one we did called Solo Diver maybe or something. It was an SSI kind of qualification. So it's good fun actually. I'd recommend the
courses.
Yeah.
Even just to, as a improve your own skills, with a buddy, worth doing. Yeah, definitely.
Exactly, especially if your buddy is a photographer and you're not, then you are pretty much diving on your own.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So
we've used the Paralens cameras, and they've been really easy to use. And you can set them up as manual, but normally everything comes on automatically. You can have it set up and just have it side of your head, and it videos, and you can take photos if you want. That's pretty.
Yes,
easy.
I've seen those. They're a good thing. They're quite good at with the white balance is quite good on those. I think.
Automatic, yeah.
They seem to have got it right. I haven't tried one myself, but what I've seen online, quite impressed with it.
Yeah, not bad.
I'm always behind everyone else when it comes to tech. The there's obviously mirrorless cameras that have come out now, so that's made the body of the camera a lot smaller, and what with it comes the housing is a lot smaller. And then there's me dragging around this sort of 10-year-old Nikon D7000 with this enormous housing. I do look quite old-fashioned on the boat when there are other photographers around, but
As it does the job. That's the main thing.
Well, this is it, and I believe that you can spend and spend and spend, and it doesn't mean you're going to take a good photograph. So it's I could do with probably newer equipment. Some of the ISOs now can go up thousands and thousands, and you can shoot in really dark conditions and really bring images to life, like wrecks in the Baltic Sea and things. There's some fabulous photography using very high ISOs now, and my camera, when you whack up the ISO, it does become quite noisy and grainy, the image. But so I probably could do with some new tech, but there's always something that gets in the way, like a new boiler, for example, or
life, I know,
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Or you need new tyres on the van or something like that.
Well, do you know what? Funny you should say that. I do need 2 new tyres on this. I was looking the other day, so Yeah, there goes.
So what have you got there? Is it your van and that's converted for your trips on your kayak and your diving and everything else?
It's a VW transporter, long wheelbase. I've had it about 7 years, something like that, and it's fully converted inside, and we've taken it all over Europe diving, driven to Croatia in it, a lot of paragliding trips, everywhere. It's been round and round Europe. It's definitely my home from home. This is.
There's quite a few people doing that these days, isn't there?
There are.
Yeah, it's become quite trendy.
Yeah, it's great for diving. I've taken it over to Jersey and Guernsey and done some diving there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the.
What's the diving like there? There must be quite a bit of World War II stuff to look at there, isn't there?
Yeah, Guernsey was good. I went with on a diver magazine trip a few years ago, and we dived a wreck that they call the concrete wreck, and it was just me and my friend on it. We got a fishing boat to take us out there, and it was incredible. The visibility was incredible.
Wow.
And then we did some sort of close kind of reefs, sort of rocky reef type dives. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Jersey, we didn't really go at the right time and just got some shore dives in, but it was pleasant enough, and it's interesting to be in a different place. So we didn't quite get the best out of Jersey, but I'd definitely go back because there's a lot more to see around those Channel Islands. Huge tidal flows there, amazing. But one of my favourite places, I think, it's at the top of many UK divers lists, is Porthcerris in the South Cornish coast.
Yeah.
And it's great for the van there because you can just park your van on the beach, and everything's there. You turn your phone off. It's.
Do you know the guys at the dive centre there?
I know. I'm buddies with Dave Brown, the skipper.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to say a big thanks to Dave because he gave me a lot of information for the new book. Sort of slack times and all sorts of skipper type information that I didn't have. So yeah, he's and Joe and I can't remember the other chap's name. There's Darren there, isn't there? But good crowd.
Yeah,
Been there for many years.
Yeah, we've spoken to Georgina Miller at Aqua City, the freediver, as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it sounds a lovely place. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, place to visit.
Oh, you must get down there if you haven't been. It's one of my favourite places anywhere actually to go down there, and you don't have to you go down, just don't need the car for let's say you're down there for a week, and you can walk to the pub over the hill each night, a couple of shandies. It's fabulous.
Yeah, no, that sounds perfect. And these are all the things that we can concentrate on next summer when the weather's. So have you got any preference on types of diving, like wrecks, caves?
No, everything's on the list. I do quite like islands, I have to say. I've got a bit of a penchant for islands, and the last trip I did overseas, diving wise, I was lucky enough to get to St Helena in the South Atlantic.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I'd wanted to go there for years. And I managed to persuade the kind people at the St Helena Tourist Board that they should sponsor a trip for me out there, and in return I'll write some magazine articles. And I failed one year, and then the second year they came back and said, yes, when would you like to go? So that was super exciting. But it's not an easy place to get to.
They didn't have an airport for ages, did they? There?
No, they didn't. And you used to be able to only get there if you went on the Royal Mail ship from Southampton. I think it's Southampton. It took like 2 weeks to get there or something, but which would have been great. So the airport's been open about 3 years, and you fly to South Africa first, and then spend a night there, and then you get a smaller plane with about 15 people on it over to St Helena, to the new runway, which has been open about 3 or 4 years, I think. But it's a tricky place for a pilot to land because it's a Category C runway, which means you've got to have a specific license to fly there, and you have to land the plane visually rather than using any computer systems or anything. And quite often the plane was made the 4-hour journey across the Atlantic. It will get to St. Helena and there'll be a couple of pesky clouds hanging over the runway, and it has to turn back, and that's that. So I was quite worried, but we obviously managed to land there. I say me, and spent a week diving, and it's incredible. And I was there in February, which is in the middle of the whale shark aggregation that they have there. So I was taken out to jump in the water with them, just, snorkel, mask and snorkel and camera.
That was awesome.
It was actually the first time I'd seen a whale shark. They've always eluded me. So it was, really exciting to be up close to one of those. And then they've got some incredible wrecks just off the island as well. Visibility's brilliant. I was chatting to a guy in the pub over there who said, tall stories from the pub, etc. He showed me pictures. He said, "Oh yeah, you want to come back in April, mate? The visibility is like 100 meters." So I was thinking, all right then. But he showed me these photographs. So I have to say, I believe him.
Really?
Yeah, Dave down the pub. But
you heard it here first, Dave down the pub.
Exactly. But it's a funny place. It reminded me of sort of going back to sort of the 1980s. It was, they don't really have any proper sort of internet there. They've got satellite Wi-Fi, which is very expensive. So you don't see people just sat around in bars on the street gawping at their phones.
You mean they make conversation? And
yeah, they have conversations and read books and everything.
That's weird.
I know. So fascinating place. I was quite lucky to get there. And so, the original question. Let's get back to that. Wreck, I love. I do love wrecks. I went to the Baltic Sea last year on a sort of 3-part trip sponsored by various people. It got a bit complicated in the end, but we went to Sweden, Finland and Estonia to dive some of these incredible intact wooden wrecks from, the several hundred years old, these wrecks. I won't name a century because I'll probably get it wrong. I have to go back to yeah, so-and-so century. So that was interesting. Yeah, seeing, I've never seen, such pristine, intact wooden wrecks from, 300 years ago.
The water's so cold, I suppose.
It was really cold. Yeah, it was dark and cold. I think the water was about 3 degrees. And I was, as usual, turning up with sort of, my diving gear isn't particularly old, but everybody else they're all kind of Baltic Sea divers with dry glove systems and that kind of thing. There was me with my sort of 5mm neoprene wet gloves. I could hardly feel my hands afterwards, and it was pretty cold, but fascinating. And then I quite like obscure places as well. When we were in Estonia, we went to this prison. It was a former Soviet labor camp, which was closed only in 2012, actually. And it was a sort of typical labor camp environment where these poor blokes were sort of made to just break rocks and dig holes and things. And over the years, had created this enormous quarry. It's only about 10 meters deep or so, but the water is crystal clear and quite warm. And then you can, get inside the remains of the sort of buildings that formed part of the quarry working. And there's old, tools lying around, and the prison wall is half submerged, so you can sort of dive over the prison wall. It's a totally weird place to be, but I recommend that. I recommend making a trip over there before the YouTubers get hold of it. And
yeah, you've certainly seen some different places. It's amazing. So have you got any advice for new divers or non-divers?
I would say to non-divers, buy a copy of Wild and Temperate Seas, also to new divers as well, and then buy a copy for your friend. But I might say what would my advice be? I certainly, a lot of people in the UK, they get into diving and they kind of snub UK diving a bit. Oh, you know, isn't it cold? Isn't it dark? Oh, what do you see down there? And all this kind of stuff. I would.
I think a lot of effort though, don't it?
It
I think
can
that's
be.
why.
You know, start with quarries, go to some good ones, perhaps, and just get out on a dive boat. And you know, if the visibility isn't great the first time round, then certainly you know, keep going, because you can expect, as you all know, you know, great visibility off the UK.
I think there's a lot of I think when someone's been on a liverboard, that's quite easy to become what's the phrase, a champagne diver.
I think so. Or I call them holiday divers.
Yeah, I do. I can understand why, but you are missing out so much what's already on your doorstep. And you know, this year has been a great opportunity to highlight UK diving. Your
Absolutely.
book is highlighting UK diving.
Absolutely, and there's stuff out there that people don't know. I mean, we've seen dolphins out on dives. There's been quite a few sort of social media posts with people in Portland Harbour with dolphins in the water. There's blue sharks. We cover blue sharks in the book. There's some great blue shark trips happening, certainly off the south coast, possibly elsewhere. There's, you know, it's just rich in maritime history. And there's an awful lot to see, you know, not just the wrecks, but also incredible, you know, walls absolutely covered with brightly coloured jewel anemones, all this kind of stuff. So it's yeah, I mean, I couldn't, when I started diving, just going diving on holiday wasn't enough. I just wanted to dive all the time. So and also, you know, once you become an accomplished temperate sea diver, then when you do go back to your Red Sea liverboard and the such like, then you'll notice that diving is, you know, probably a lot better than those that just go on a couple of liverboards a year. It does a lot for diving. And actually, I have to, I'll let you into a secret. I really love diving in a dry suit. And in fact, I won't get out of my dry suit unless the water's above about 23, 24 degrees. I remember one year going away with some friends to the Red Sea with your friends Blue 02 and taking my dry suit. And when we were setting our gear up on the dive deck, my friends were all laughing at me. What do you bring the dry suit for? And they were there in their 5mm wetsuits. And then about halfway through the week, the laughing subsided because, as you may know, when you get out of the water at that time of year in the Red Sea, there's usually a bit of a stiff wind. Yeah. And after a sort of few days of taking off and putting on a wetsuit in a stiff wind, putting on and taking off a dry suit with just t-shirt and shorts underneath seems a bit more appealing. So that's probably some good advice as well.
Yeah. So what sort of dry suit do you have?
Well, I'm very fortunate to be an 03 brand ambassador.
Yeah.
So I wear one of their suits. I think it's the MSF something or other 100, or I'll probably get Sean now telling me off for getting that wrong. But it's very good, Sean. It's very good. So I all my gear's 03. The wetsuits and the dry suit and hoods and gloves, and then I've got a quite an old looking Hollis wing that was once blue and black and now is sort of light blue and brown. But it's comfortable and I love it. So
I've got an 03 suit as well, R100, very nice.
I think I might have the same one. But yeah, they're great, those guys, and it's good to be involved with them. They really look after me with gear, and so yeah, it worked.
Have you tried their new gloves?
What are they again?
3 season, got like square tips.
No, I haven't, but I will be getting onto them and asking for a pair.
Yeah, they're pre-formed fingers, and yeah, they're really comfy.
Oh. That's interesting because I always like diving with quite thin gloves. So where possible, I just wear 3mm gloves because I like the dexterity.
Yeah.
The camera. I can't really bear putting my hand in anything thicker than that. Maybe I should get dry gloves, but yeah, I'll have to get onto them and test a pair of these out.
Yeah, they
Gemma
gave us
Recommendation.
Gemma didn't know I was going to do this, but I've got some here, and very good gloves, I have to say.
There you go.
I was using 5mm gloves, and I thought, I'm not sure if I want to go down to 3 because I really like my old 5mm gloves. But these, very good, I have to say so far. And they light up as well.
They light up?
They light up. How cool.
They glow.
They
Wow.
glow in the dark. What more do you want from gloves?
Incredible. Well, I definitely need to try those in which case. So yeah, there
03.
you go. You heard it from Ian. 03, new 03 gloves.
Yeah.
Go out and buy a pair.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So when did you last dive?
It was actually the St. Helena trip in February.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it feels like a long time ago now, hence dashing back to get my equipment and get in the water again if it hasn't all just disintegrated in the bags. So yeah, but yeah, maybe some Spanish stuff coming up soon. I'm quite friendly with some of the Spanish tourist boards. They've looked after me over the years and sort of got me to some nice places, and in return for content and photography and writing and things. And actually, that's another thing people forget about is it's not all about the Red Sea. There's some real hidden gems, for want of better expression, in the Med, and there's one particular place called the Columbrettis Islands, which is about 3-hour boat ride out of the region of Valencia, and it's a protected marine reserve, but genuinely protected, unlike some that claim to be and they're not. But this is incredible, and it's sort of, when you visit that, you get a reminder of what the Mediterranean perhaps once did look like before it kind of got ravaged by commercial fishing. But so yeah, it shouldn't be overlooked, the Mediterranean, as long as you choose the right places, and there are some genuinely good ones, closer to home as well, better for the carbon footprint and all that.
Yeah, we've got to think about all these things. Yeah. So what's on your bucket list for a dive location or wish list?
Well, I think it's I was lucky enough last year to go on a sort of 12-day 900 nautical mile kind of expedition, I suppose, through the Banda Sea in Indonesia. And I feel like, we're there on the boat for 12 days, and saw some incredible stuff. But I feel that there's a lot more to see. So I'm really keen to get back to Indonesia and do more of that, I think. We went with Dive Damai, which is a fabulous liveaboard company. So yeah, I want to get back involved with them, I think.
Yeah. And is that to see kind of the marine life, or?
I've never seen so many fish in all my life underwater. I mean, there were times where there was almost too many fish. It was incredible. Great big bait balls of anchovy and mobulae diving in to take to snack on them, and giant trevally and manta rays, and the corals, just incredible. It was pristine. It was just what an ocean should look like, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've had an answer like that before.
No.
Yeah. So, talking of marine life, have you got a favourite marine animal or fish?
I do like the humpback whale. I've got an illustration of one framed back home in my house in Brighton. So yeah, the humpback whale. Never seen one in the wild, but that's up there on my wish list. So
That must be awesome to see.
must be, mustn't it? And hear them as well. The noise they make. I mean, wow. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it'd be awesome. And have you got your best ever dive site? What would be your best ever dive site?
Well, do you know, I've been asked this question a few times before, and my usual reply is no, I don't really have favourites, because I do like variation. But again, going back to the Banda Sea and through the Forgotten Islands, I've never seen anything like it. So I'd probably have to reevaluate that answer and say yes, that's probably my favourite area. Not particularly one site, but certainly to date my favourite area, the Bandar-Sea. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So if you could take 3 people underwater, either diving, snorkeling, or in a submersible, they could be past, present, family. Don't need to be divers. Who would you take?
That is a good question. It would probably be family, I think, because although they've seen photographs and video of things that places I've been, they haven't really seen it for themselves. So yeah, I think I'd take some family on a submersible trip around the Forgotten Islands in Indonesia.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. And do you have a favourite piece of dive kit?
Oh well, it's definitely my O3 drive suit. Yeah, yeah, it probably is actually. And certainly, if we can include my camera in that, then it would have to be that as well. But yeah, certainly very happy with my dry suit. And as I said earlier, I rarely get out of it unless the water is warm. But when it is tropical, then I don't want to be in a wetsuit at all. It's just shorts and a rash vest. Less is more, really. I don't want to be dripping with stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So after you've been for a dive, do you have a post-meal, a favourite post-meal? Is it a curry or?
It's probably beer, actually.
Liquid lunch or a liquid
Yeah,
meal?
I start off with one of those and then see where we lead. I mean, it depends where I am, but I do love liverboard food. I do like those buffets on the Blue O2 liverboard.
Good.
I do. And I also like, I just say generally liverboard food. And also it suits me perfectly because I'm not a big fan of cooking. And then to get out from having a dive and then just walk into the salon and it's all just there for you, that is just perfect for me.
That's why a lot of people like a liverboard.
They do.
It's true. Yeah. And so if you had a billboard and you could put something on there, a message, a photo, a picture, an image, a question or a statement, whatever you like on that billboard to get a message out to all the millions of people out there, what would you put on it?
Well, probably I guess I've got 2 answers, maybe in no particular order. One would be wild and temperate seas out 25th of November by now. Or perhaps a more serious answer would be certainly something along the lines of ocean conservation, because without doubt, in my sort of 20 years of underwater exploration, I have genuinely seen the growing plastic problem in our oceans. I mean, we saw it in Indonesia when we were, miles and miles from any miles and miles from any inhabited islands, and we found plastic. So I think trying to get that message to people would be an important one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a common theme and it just needs to be out there so much.
Yeah.
It's difficult to convince people because I think almost we've been saturated with those kind of posts on social media about plastic filled beaches and oceans. It's easy to sort of flick past these things now, but I mean, I remember going to Mexico on a diving trip. We did lucky enough to do some cave diving there, and then went over to Cozumel and did some diving from a boat. But we went over to the east side of the island, which was exposed to much of the wind from the sea, and it was absolutely full of plastic, the beach. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. So maybe a picture of that should go on a billboard and nothing else, just that picture.
Yeah, I think it's the impact it makes. Obviously, maybe we don't see the true impact in the UK, but when you see these islands of pure plastic, it's quite...
And it lasts, it doesn't fade. Gemma knows this, but through my work, my day-to-day work, I found crisp packets which are 20 years old.
I can believe it.
And they're still together, they're still intact, not breaking down at all.
No.
20 years old.
Yeah, I can believe it.
No, it's quite. But we can, if even a small change, if we can just do something all individually, it just goes to the bigger cause, doesn't it? And
For sure. I mean, just changing what we consume, really, and how we consume, being a bit more mindful, not buying ready-made, sliced pieces of fruit in plastic cartons. It's easy. We can avoid it. It is easy.
I never understand that. Why is it you get cucumbers and they're all covered in plastic? You think, well, what's that about?
I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, stuff like that's got to change.
Yeah, we are making an effort, but it's just making a bigger effort.
For sure.
Yeah. So have you got any questions for us?
Well, yeah, certainly. When I visit Norfolk next and the weather's on our side, please can I come diving with you?
Absolutely, you're really good.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple of wrecks up in North Norfolk. There's one at Clay, isn't there, or Clark?
Yeah, there's quite a few off this coast.
Yeah. Well, we'll go and do that, and then maybe we'll make another podcast about it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, can take the photos.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So if people want to find out more about you, and obviously the book included, where are they best to go to?
Well, a couple of places. You could go to my website, which documents a lot of stuff, also other than diving, paragliding and climbing and things like that, which is Appleyard.com. Or you can go to Instagram. I post from time to time on there, which is just simply @Appleyard.
Yeah. And your new book comes out
25th of November. It's already on Amazon, actually, as a pre-order. So you can pre-order it there now. I guess you could just Google it if you like. It's out by Dived Up Publications, and it's definitely on Amazon now for pre-order.
It's about £18, I think, isn't it?
It is, yes, worth every single pound.
Yeah.
No, thank you for having me. It's been brilliant. Yeah, I'm alone in this country house for the next 10 days, so it's good to talk to people. Great, well, I'm going to go and quench my thirst, I think, with another beer in that bar.
Yeah, it must be getting near beer o'clock time, mustn't it?
Yeah. Well, lovely to talk to you, and thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, yeah.
All right.
All right, have a lovely evening.
Cheers, you too.
Okay,
Cheers.
bye, Will.
Bye. Bye.
We're back. So, Jem, what do you think to that? It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I'm really looking forward to reading the book page to page. Yeah.
I'll look forward to reading the pictures.
You can just flick through. And
Oh, well, I can read.
you can read.
I will get, but it's a brilliant manual. I'll use it as a manual, so that'd be really good.
Yeah, I think the pictures are amazing.
The M2 is on my list. I know that, and Scapa at some stage. That'd definitely be good.
Yeah.
Well, Lundy, and in fact, just diving generally a bit more around the country is on my list.
Well, there are
for
50
next year.
in that book, so we'll work our way around the coastline.
Good idea, Jem. I like it. Very good. So that was Will, and talking about his book. There will be notes in the show notes to look at where to go buy the actual book.
There will, and back to Will's website as well, and there's a link on Will's website again for the book.
Yeah. So don't delay. Order. It's out tomorrow on the 25th. So there we go.
Yeah, and once you've had a look at it, let us know what you think.
Yeah, please do. Comment, feedback. We love it. So do that. Right. So that's that. Jem, just talk us through anyone. If anyone's thinking about maybe buying a drone or let's do a few adverts.
We've got a few little adverts and deals going on. So looking through the book, if you fancy taking some underwater pictures and you're a bit inspired, we've got links to the Paralens website. So you can order your Paralens camera or the new Vaquita.
Yeah.
The links are in the podcast notes. What else have we got? We've got drones. So DJI, they have given us a couple of drones that are slightly discounted for you. So if you follow the links, you can order your drone.
5%, Jem. 5% you can save. How about that?
Yeah, because they're not cheap, are they? So
Makes it even worth listening to us now. In fact, I might even listen.
I listen to the Big Scuba podcast because I get discounts.
Exactly. We pay people to listen.
Exactly. And you know, the discounts keep coming. We've also got Stream to see all their products. You can the discount code and you get 10% off your order.
The Wavemakers, aren't we?
We are Wavemakers. Yeah.
Wavemakers.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's for all
We're not
products.
talking about what we do in the bath.
You can do what you like in the bar.
That's a whole different kind of wave making.
I'm sure it is. Bubble making. Anyway.
Moving on.
So Stream to see all their products are completely water friendly, so they won't do any harm to the environment or the life in the room.
We like that.
Yeah. So have a look at all their products and place your order.
I use their shampoo all the time, as you can tell. My hair is silky smooth.
Smooth and shiny.
It is. It is.
Yeah. So and also we've got a new addition. We have
What's that, Gem?
Electric bike and eco.
We have.
Yeah.
I went down the post office yesterday on it, and that goes like a dream.
I know. Puts a smile on your face too.
It do. Whizzing around Bungie I was.
Yeah. So you just need to drop us a direct message or an email, ask us, and we'll send you details of how much it is. And
They are, yeah. And if they listen to us and are interested in these power assisted bikes, and they are brilliant, I have to say. And I'm not just saying that, you know, I'm a converted man. You go uphill and you know, they're like a dream. You just do half the pedaling, you know, they're brilliant. And but we again can save you money if you are interested.
Yeah, and it's quite a substantial amount of money. So a great Christmas.
A lot of money. Yeah, especially with Black Friday coming up, just on this coming Friday, 27th, I do believe.
Yep, I think keep an eye out on our social media for what discount is available for that particular day. Yeah,
that is, and it's a very well made bike. You can see the work that's gone into it. A lot of thought gone into it. You can see the actual design, and it works. It does what it says. You know, as soon as you start to pedal, whoosh, you get that whoosh.
It's a bit like the ET bike, isn't it? That's what
brilliant. Yeah. I wonder if you could.
No, it's got a range of 35 miles and top speed of about 17 miles an hour.
So it goes well. It does go well. Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. And then I think obviously look out for the YouTube channel as well, the Big Scuba.
Hit the old button there and ring the bell.
Ring the bell, yeah. There's lots of stuff coming out. We've got product reviews.
Yeah, we've got some of them.
Yeah.
I think they went to plan, didn't they, the product reviews?
Yes, absolutely to plan.
They always do. Anything we do always goes to plan.
Yeah, our kind of plan, not anything plan.
No. So that's the adverts. Right, what we need to just then head up is what's coming next, Jen.
We have episode 45, which is an episode dedicated to the book Wild and Temperate Seas by Will Appleyard. And we have extracts from the people that have contributed to the book to tell us about what they've done and who they are, basically.
Yeah, it is the Wild and Temperate Sea edition episode.
Yeah.
If you like.
Yeah, so it's really nice hearing about the people that have contributed, what they do for a job and how they've sort of got into their diving.
Yeah, some of the, they are big divers and photographers, explorers, so it'd be good to hear snippets from them, wouldn't it?
Exactly, and passionate about the UK dive scene.
Yeah, it's all about the UK dive scene even. So join in for episode 45.
Yep, so that'll be out very shortly.
Right, well that's it for us. We will see you on the next one, on the episode 45.
Right, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.